my theory was, whether the the original design was put out by the powers that be or somebody who worked for them, or whether it was just hijacked by them, to a certain extent, to me, it doesn't matter. But but to me, they're always trying to get the best and the brightest to prototype for them. And the reality is they can't pay, they can't hire. If you look at the best and the brightest in the Bitcoin world, most of them they could never hire. The best and brightest wouldn't work for them, wouldn't help them, want nothing to do with them. So how do you get them prototyping your control grid for you and your digital currency for you? How do you trick them into doing that for you? And to me, the prototyping of Bitcoin was always the way you did it.
It's an interesting thought, and I think there's a lot of that might be true. And when you think about it as well, there's some deep irony here because in my background and Roger's background is in the more extreme versions of libertarian, like we really
Right,
are about individual freedom, and it's
right,
in this network of some hardcore libertarians that we got
right.
the the version of Bitcoin now that everybody is talking about. I don't see evidence anywhere that this is a pro-freedom technology. And the spectrum of what this technology could be used for, it's not just it's harmless and it empowers people. It also goes in the negative direction. You called it a controlled network. I think that's a very fine term to use. That, okay, the other side of the flip side of Bitcoin is it's a public ledger, meaning all the transactions are tracked. And if the blockchain is very small or the amount of total transactions is very small, it's fairly easy to do blockchain analysis. In fact, governments and police are doing blockchain analytics all the time to figure out, okay, who owns what, who's making this transaction, what's it for, and then all of the on roads and off roads into BTC, or I shouldn't say all of them, the vast majority of them are KYC exchanges that are
Mm-hmm.
complying with know your customer laws. So they literally know like the individual identity of a bunch of people who are using the BTC blockchain. And so there's no privacy on it. it it's sort of like a regulator's best case
Dream.
scenario.
Right.
So the spectrum is not like, oh, it's really good and it's harmless. It goes, no, there is a dystopian version of Bitcoin that we are almost already in right
Right.
now. So yeah, it might be that that was always the intended design. You get the naive libertarian, idealistic types to build something for you. That might be part of the history.